Study Session 14, Political Parties and Party System. Introduction. In this study session, we shall be discussing political parties, associations of people whose major desire is the control of political power. We shall also discuss various party systems and functions performed by political parties. At the end of this study session, you should be able to define political parties, explain the functions of political parties, describe various types of party system, and identify the advantages and disadvantages of each of the various types of party system. Defining political parties. Political parties are organizations whose ultimate goal is to contest and win control of the state power or instrumentality of government, often through the mandate of the people. Political parties are as old as organized political system. For example, many of the ancient Greek city-states had organized competitive parties. Political parties take many forms, but their main functions are similar: to supply personnel for government positions, to organize these personnel around the formation and implementation of public policy, and to serve in the mediating role between individuals and their government, to support a particular political figure, to advance a particular policy or a general ideological stand, to aid politically certain groups or sections of the society, or merely to combine for short-term political advantage. Political parties have also been organized in various ways. In some, control is exercised by a small central elite, either elected or self-perpetuating, while in others, power is decentralized, with candidate picking and decision-making spread among local party units. The modern mass political party has taken shape in the last century, along with the rise of democratic ideology, universal suffrage, nationalism, and more effective means of communication. Thus, according to Tolbert Lane, political parties can be described as tripartite institutions. First, they are legal institutions with a structure defined by law, custom, and bylaws. Second, they are associations of leaders seeking to capture the offices of government. And third, although it may be true that they are significant groups for voters. This is according to Lane in 1959, page 229. Beryl Sonnet in 1954 described political parties as organizations preoccupied with the agenda of forming national leadership, local organization, as well as the forming the symbols in the minds of men. This is according to Berelson in 1954, page 179. Functions of political parties. 1. They assist in presenting candidates for elective positions through political recruitment. 2. They serve as agents of public enlightenment and education. They teach the people, particularly the electorate, on how to vote, why the electorate should variously consider them, that is, the parties, in their electoral choice. 3. They also serve as bridge between the government and the people. Through membership of political parties, people are enabled to participate in government directly or indirectly. Party members not in government can meet their parties, representatives in government, and tell them what they need these representatives to do for them, or for people at large. This opportunity may be elusive if there are no political parties. 4. They also serve to aggregate the interests of the people in their quest to give advice to government on which policy direction should be adopted. 5. They are institutions or vehicles through which people can decide on whom among the candidates, that is, the flag bearers, will most satisfy their individual interests by forming opinion on each candidate by considering his or her party manifestos. This is because the party manifestos are supposed to reflect what each candidate represents, to show whether he is a communist or capitalist, secularist or sectarian, etc. It is the ideologies of the parties that will help the electorate to form opinion among the aspirants, which will make them, the electorate, to finally make their political choice. 6. They also serve as agents of political socialization. The young members of political parties look up to the veterans in the parties to imbibe the age-long norms and ideals of the parties so that they can function well as members of the parties. This is more evident in older democracies like the US and Britain, where the existing political parties have a long history of party creed, culture, and beliefs. 7. Political parties also help to itemize the interests of the people in their political articulations through various forums or fora, including rallies, campaigns, study sessions, debates, symposia, conferences, and mass media. 8. They can also serve to protect the fundamental human rights of the people. For instance, the destruction of Odi in the Niger Delta region of Nigeria by the military under the Obasanjo administration between 1999 and 2007 attracted wide spectrum of criticism, particularly not only among the human rights organizations, but also among opposition political parties, notably the Alliance for Democracy, AD. 9. They also contribute in the lawmaking process. Political parties always liaise with their members in the parliament. They nonetheless have a great impact on the activities of their members in the parliament. They persuade or compel their members in the parliament to support or disapprove a particular bill or the other in legislative debate for the corporate interest of their parties. 10. They also perform the function of social change. It is not surprising that currently in Nigeria, some political parties can be found to be advocating against some primitive practices like female gender mutilation and child marriage. They are also pushing for some legislations to outlaw such inhuman primitive practices. 11. Political parties are now found to be taking the role of a mediator. They often intervene to mediate and broker peace not only in intercommunal conflicts but also religious conflicts, industrial conflicts, interparliamentary conflicts, intergovernmental conflicts, among others. 12. A number of political parties also provide social welfare for citizens. Some parties assist indigent students with scholarships, help communities in provision of borehole and building of recreation centers, schools, rehabilitation homes, to mention a few. They also provide jobs for their unemployed members. They also assist several members with food and shelter. Types of party system. There are several types of party system. Thus, Party is usually categorized by the type of party system in which it operates. Basically, there are three types of party system with distinct characters. These include one-party, two-party, and multi-party systems. Let us now examine these three party systems, one after the other. One-party system. In the countries where one-party system is being practiced, there is only one legally recognized political party. This is not to say that there are no other political parties, but all other political parties operate outside legal domain of such political systems. Therefore, it is only one political party that is recognized under the law, and the only means through which seekers of political office can aspire to fulfill their political ambition. The experience of Africa in the 1960s featured the rise of one-party states and authoritarian regimes, which attracted instrumentalization of political disorder and social cataclysm in several of such states on the continent. Since the 1990s, there has been a new wave of political redemption on the continent, where the military regimes began to fade away for democratic governments, and the former one-party regimes widened the political landscape of their countries, allowing for greater participation in the democratic process by moving towards two-party system or multi-party system. This is evident in Kenya after the exit of Daniel Arap Moi, Congo-Kinshasa, Zaire, Sierra Leone, among others. This is according to Chazanet, 1999, pages 141 to 143. Advantages of one-party system. 1. It helps to promote unity in the country, particularly as all the various ethnic groups in a given state will be operating under the same one-party structure. 2. The absence of opposition parties that characterizes the one-party system tends to enhance the stability of the state. 3. One-party system also avoids or discourages waste of public funds. This is because there are no opposition parties to contest elections. Even the time and resources put in place for post-election adjudication are enormous, which may not be necessary under one-party system. 4. One-party system also provides opportunities to arrive at decisions quickly due to the fact that there is no opposition party or parties to contest the view or policy actions of the one-party governments. 5. One-party system can also help to promote economic development of the state where it is being practiced. Time is very precious in business. The opportunity of quick decision-making by government is likely to be a vital instrument for economic recovery and growth. This is not surprising that most Asian countries that have recorded tremendous economic growth in recent times have been able to achieve economic development and technological advancement under one-party regimes. 6. The system also helps in the strengthening of the state and building of nationhood. This is because it tends to foster a deep sense of togetherness among various ethnic nationalities in a multi-ethnic state where it is being practiced. The issue of creating political parties along ethnic divides does not arise because all political gladiators or political office seekers have only a party as a vehicle through which they can fulfill their political aspirations. Disadvantages of one-party system. 1. One-party system does not allow for wide choice. This is because it's only the candidates presented by the party that the people are forced to give their mandate to. So, if the party presents unpopular candidates, people will be left with no option other than to choose one of them because the limited choice that characterizes one-party system. Because of the limited choice that characterizes the one-party system. 2. The system can also create a situation whereby incompetent people as well as looters of public funds will enjoy continued relevance in politics, basically because of the restrictive political landscape. These public office holders of questionable character may be difficult to be brought to popular, that is, people's justice, as they will continue to hide behind the party to cover up their ill actions and official recklessness. 3. There is tendency that the system will lead to misrule and abuse of political office. The absence of opposition parties and limited choice for people to express their opinions in elections, the government is likely to be less effective in carrying out its official functions because there is no alternative party which the people can give their mandate if the ruling party fails to take care of the yearnings of the people. 4. There is no broad scope of political views. This is because one-party system is a one-traffic party system where people cannot have access to divergent views and alternative viewpoints that dominate pluralist political systems, that is, states that have two or more political parties. Therefore, we are likely to experience limited political education and communication in one-party system. 5. One-party regimes are likely to be autocratic and capable of abusing the fundamental rights of the people because there is no opposition party to act as watchdogs to contain any official reckless and illegality of the ruling party. 6. One-party system can also create a fertile atmosphere for political instability. There is tendency that people and interest groups may revolt against the government when they realize that in order to guard the corporate existence of the state as well as protecting their natural rights, alternative political platforms are needed to articulate their opinions at the poll. And if the government fails to agree with the view of the people peacefully, adopting violent methods by the people to ensure government compliance is imminent. The latter is capable of creating tensions in the polity, which will result in political instability. Two-party system. Two-party system occurs in political systems or countries where only two political parties are recognized by the law. Again, two-party system operates in political systems where there exist two dominant political parties. However, this party system can be found in the United States, that is with the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. Nigeria, under Babangida Transition Program, the National Republican Party and Social Democratic Party. Britain, that is the Labour and Conservative parties. We can also find this party system in several other countries, including Australia. Advantages of two-party system. 1. As compared to a one-party system, there is greater choice among the people to express their electoral opinions. If the ruling party does not perform up to the people's expectation, people will have alternative political parties that they give their mandate in subsequent election or elections. Again, The people may have opportunity to decide on which political party should control the executive or the one to have majority in the legislature. The electoral opinion will determine if the party that controls the executive will have its members controlling the majority of the parliament. The recent experience in the United States shows that different parties control the executive and legislature, as the Republican Party controls the presidency, which is the executive, while the Democratic Party has the majority in the Congress, that is, the legislature. 2. It prevents misrule and autocratic administration. The opposition is always on alert, serving as watchdog, and always scrutinizes the activities of the government. Whenever the government is to adopt any policy action, the opposition will analyze such policies and communicate the consequences of such policies on the nation at large. Through this, people are enlightened about government activities. 3. It promotes good governance and economic development. Due to the existence of alternative political platform, government of the day usually tries as much as possible to fulfill its campaign promises, and people's needs are likely to be given a great priority. 4. It also promotes political stability. This is because each party will always watch its steps by articulating policies and programs that will promote the goodwill and popularity of the party. 5. It allows for participation of the opposition party in the decision-making process of the government through critical appraisal of government policies. In most times, the comments of the opposition enable the government to streamline and synthesize its policies so that the policies will attract wide public support. 6. Two-party system also encourages broader political communication and education. Disadvantages of two-party system. 1. It may be costly to operate because it usually consumes a lot of financial resources. The nations that are poor may find it an uphill task to sustain the two-party system, and that is why most developing countries like Africa usually seek for financial assistance from international donors, mostly the developed countries or their agencies. A lot of money is spent in organizing and conducting elections under two-party systems because there is existence of two dominant political parties competing for elective offices. Therefore, government will need to provide for more electoral materials than the one-party system and other logistics. This will of course attract a lot of money. Again, election tribunals will also be established. The purpose for this setup is to provide post-election dispute settlement in which the tribunals will address issues of electoral conflicts, malpractices, and violence. Post-election adjudication is also vital in two-party system to avoid anarchy after the conduct of election and announcement of election results. Post-election adjudication is more applied in two-party system than one-party system, and the post-election adjudication is nonetheless expensive. 2. It may create instability in the polity. There is no doubt two-party system is not always desirable for countries that experience sharply ethno-religious or ideological division. Thus, there is inherent danger if people's political choice is built largely around ethnic chauvinism, religious bigotry, or inter-ideological hatred. Just imagine having two-party system in a political system or country where there is mutual suspicion and structural hatred between two ethnic groups, and each of the two dominant parties is majorly controlled by each of the two ethnic groups. There is tendency that such a situation will generate tensions and perhaps political instability. 3. Under two-party system, parties are often tempted to adopt clandestine or destructive methods against each other. This is to enjoy a comparative advantage over each other in their quest to win the mandate of the people. Thus, what is lost by one party is gained by the other. 4. The desire of the ruling party to stay in power perpetually may attract strong opposition from the other party. Such opposition may generate inter-party violence capable of overheating the polity. 5. The public may be deceived by the opposition party against the policies of the ruling party. This is often done with the aim of winning people's political affections towards it. 6. There is limited choice in the expression of electoral opinion of the people. This is because there are only two political parties available, and if none of the parties has programs and manifestos that majority of the people desire, yet people will be forced to reckon with available parties. People become beggars that have no choice. Multi-party system. In a multi-party system, there is existence of 3 or more political parties recognized by the law of a given state. In political system, that is, country where multi-party system is adopted, there are 3 or more political parties, and each of them enjoys almost equal influence, but varying potentials in the power equilibrium, particularly as it concerns acquisition of political power. Most times, due to existence of numerous political parties, the government is formed through coalition and workable arrangement of 2 or more parties to form a formidable and larger party. This is often done where we have parties in which none of them has majority support among the electorates, that is, sufficient enough to achieve electoral victory. The countries where multi-party system is being practiced include Nigeria, Ghana, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Sweden, France, among others. Advantages of multi-party system. 1. The system assists people to enjoy greater political choice because they are free to choose among the numerous political parties to give their mandates. Thus, the existence of 3 or more political parties enable the electorate, that is the voters, to freely choose which among the many parties suits them most, rather than being restricted by the existence of only 1 or 2 parties. 2. Multi-party system also enables various interests to showcase or advance their philosophical or ideological thoughts through various parties. In this case, religious movements or labor movements or any other form or forms of association can set up their own political parties within the ambit of the law. For instance, when opportunity came the way of the Labour to have their political party registered, the leadership of the Labour acted promptly. That is why we now have Labour Party, LP, in Nigeria, to protect the vision and interests of the Nigerian workers. Thus, the party never did badly in the 2007 general elections in Nigeria, but the party is not yet popular among the Nigerian workers as expected. 3. There are 2 or more opposition parties which will always serve as watchdogs, criticizing any policy of the ruling party considered to be retrogressive or anti-people. 4. The system also helps to prevent misrule and dictatorship of the ruling party. Here, the opposition parties are likely to challenge any dictatorial attitude exhibited by the ruling party. The challenge is often carried out through adoption of various methods ranging from public criticism, protests, and litigation to violent opposition. 5. It presents wide spectrum of opportunities to people in political education and communication. Disadvantages of multi-party system. 1. One of the demerits of multi-party system is that it is capable of causing political instability. There may be unhealthy competition and rivalry among various political parties in their quest to acquire political power. 2. The system also encourages coalition between 2 or more parties to form governments. Coalition governments are often weak ones. This is because it is usually difficult to harmonize the ideologies and programs of the coalition parties. This situation tends to create problem of incoherence in government, and consequently, the government may be weak. 3. The ruling party may invite some of the opposition parties to form a government of national unity, GNU, with the aim of buying them over. Some of the opposition may accept the offer, and this action is capable of undermining the efficacy of the opposition in examining the government's policies. In situations like this, where opposition parties are brought over by the ruling party, there is tendency that the interests of the people will be jeopardized. 4. If the ruling party is very strong, the opposition party may not be capable enough to articulate any formidable opposition to government. This happens when the opposition are very small and weak. This is evident in Nigeria under the current Fourth Republic. The ruling People's Democratic Party (PDP) government enjoys enormous power which cannot be equaled by any opposition. Through state resources, the PDP government has been able to amass itself enormous power to the extent that it has great influence over the leaderships of most of the opposition parties, who are ready to trade their party's interests for money. 5. Multi-party system is very expensive to operate due to great amounts of financial and material resources that go into elections, logistics, and adjudication due to multi-plurality of political parties that participate in the electoral and political process. Study session summary. In this study session, you learned that political parties are essentially established to present candidates for the acquisition of political offices. Seeking for people's mandate or competition for political power is the basic function performed by political parties. Political parties play great roles in educating the masses on a wide range of issues which border on the interests of the people on one hand and that of the state on the other hand. Political parties do not only seek for people's mandates, but they also educate the masses on their voting rights, as well as other political rights such as right to life, right to dignity of human person, right to personal liberty, right to fair hearing, among others. This is aimed at sensitizing the masses on the need to be alert and resist any attempt of government to abuse their natural rights. There are various types of party systems: one party, two-party, and multi-party systems. All these party systems have their merits and shortcomings. End of study session 14. Thanks for listening.